Hello and welcome back to the review realm. It's Sienna and I have just seen the film Weapons. Now, I was originally not going to see this film. It wasn't on my list. I like horror movies, but I'm not like totally into horror movies. And by the trailer of this film, I was like, oh, I'm going to be super scared. I don't know if I can go to this film. It just looks really creepy. So it wasn't on my list, but then last second I decided, you know what, I'm going to man up, and I went and saw this film, and I am really glad I went and saw Weapons. I was not expecting it to be as good and as enjoyable for me as it actually was. Now, this is going to be a non-spoiler review, so if you are considering seeing Weapons, no need to worry. I'm only going to explain the very basic plot points of this film, just what information is in the trailer and in the brief synopsis. So, Weapons follows a small town, and you see this classroom, and a teacher, Miss Gandy, walks in one day, and all her students are gone except one child. Now, she has no idea where everyone went. An investigation then follows. So they then learn at 2:17 in the middle of the night, all these kids just got out of bed and walked out of their house. They have no idea where these kids went. So you now see the events after all the kids have disappeared, and you're about 30 days after when the kids disappeared. So the investigation is kind of slowing down. You do see bits and pieces of it, but the cops don't know where to look. They're kind of running up dry, not really finding anything, and you do see the aftermath of the parents that are just frustrated because their kids have been gone and it feels like no one is doing anything. Now, this film does follow multiple perspectives, so you get a whole group of characters and you are sort of following over a course of a couple days and just their different perspective on the aftermath of the kids' disappearance. Some are looking for their child, like Josh Brolin's character, and he does a fantastic job in this role. He's an incredible actor, of course, so you would expect nothing less from him, but he really does a fantastic job. And his performance reminded me a lot of Hugh Jackman's performance as a dad in the movie Prisoners. Josh Brolin really does bring it with the emotional depth of, my kid has disappeared, I don't know how to move on with my life, everyone's expecting me to move on, but I just want to find my kid. He's somewhere out there, I know he is. So you do see him not giving up and trying to figure out where his kid is when he feels like everyone else around him is sort of giving up on finding where these children are. So you do follow his perspective for part of the film, and then you also follow another character named Miss Gandy, who is the teacher, who's played by Julia Garner, and she does a great job of being a teacher where all my kids just one day up and vanish, and she really does, like, she's struggling now how she can't really go back to teaching because all her kids disappear. No one knows. They were blaming her, so she really does do a fantastic job in this role. And you do follow other characters as well, but those are definitely our two main protagonists. Now, this film, you do go character by character, their point of view on different situations that happen, which help build the suspense in this film because you're seeing one thing play out from one character's perspective, and then you'll see it play out again with another character's perspective, and it all adds just information, because the first time you're watching something happen, you're like, what is going on? And then you see it from this other character's perspective, and then it adds some of the backstory to it, so you're like, oh, that's what happened, now I understand. So it does help build suspense and also clarity as well throughout this film, and I really enjoyed the multiple perspectives. I don't do a lot of research before going into a movie. I prefer to go in blind as possible, just so I don't get too many opinions in, and I was really pleasantly surprised about the multiple perspectives, and I really did enjoy that part of the film, because it did help build the suspense. Now, if you are a horror fan, you may have some problems with this film. I wouldn't say it's scary, I would say it's more creepy, if that makes sense. Like, you can tell when they're about to do a jump scare, and it happens like sprinkled in the film, but it's not the main focus. It's not meant to scare you, like, oh, popcorn goes flying because you're scared so bad. That's not what this film is trying to do. It's more just creepy, like trying to freak you out. Like, you know something awful is going to happen or something creepy, and it just gets you in your own head, but it's not making you jump. if that makes sense. So it's definitely not scary, it's more creepy, and I was expecting it to be super scary. So that is one thing. I'm glad that it wasn't super scary because I don't love being scared all the time and I don't want nightmares for the rest of my life. So that was a plus for me, but if you do like being scared, I wouldn't say Weapons is necessarily the film for you because its goal is not really to scare you, it's more to like creep you out. But with the setting of this film, you are in this town and they do a great job of the dreariness, how it's kind of dark, that something about this place seems off. And something about these characters seem off because you aren't really sure who to trust. You're going through all these characters and their different point of views, and some aren't the greatest characters. So you're like, do I trust them? I mean, I don't know. But it's cool to see the different perspectives and how they build on each other. That really is a fantastic part of this film, and just how it builds the creepiness and that something is off within this town and that these kids are missing and why are they missing. Now, my biggest problem with this film has to be the climax. Yes, the climax. I just felt like it was a little bit disappointing. You know, with the horror movie, everything's building up to this point, and you're expecting this, and then it almost turned humorous. Like, people were actually laughing in my theater, and I almost did, but I caught myself. The climax, and I'm not exactly sure if that's what they wanted. Maybe that is what they wanted for us to sort of laugh at this point, but it just was a weird climax. I think they could have done something different to help make the story just a little bit better, but it did get to the point where it was kind of funny, the climax. So there is that. I was a little disappointed in it. I was really hoping for something a little different, but it didn't completely turn me off the whole film, and overall, I would recommend this film. It's still an enjoyable film to go and watch and experience. It did remind me a lot of Prisoners, if you have seen that, which that is more of a psychological thriller. So I think if you are a thriller fan, mystery fan, and a horror fan, you should go and check out this film and watch the trailer, or if you've even heard anything about it and if it piques your interest, then you should definitely go and check it out. It's worth. I'm glad that I decided last minute to go and check out Weapons. I really did enjoy this film. And honestly, it's one of the better films that I have seen this year. No, I'm not going to jinx it. I'm not going to say that it's my best film, like the best film of the year. But it's definitely high up there. I actually really enjoyed this film. Even though it does have some of its problems, overall, still an enjoyable experience. I really did have a good time at the theater. And it does end right when your adrenaline's going. So, like, I was, like, rushing out of the movie theater. I was like, why am I rushing out of the movie theater? But it was because, like, my adrenaline was so high. So there's definitely a lot of parallels with Weapons to the film Prisoners, if you have seen that. So if you are a fan of Prisoners, Weapons might be a film that you should go check out. Now, the gore in this film, there's not really a lot of gore. There are some parts, but it wasn't bad, honestly. So I would recommend Weapons, but let me know down in the comment section down below if you are going to check out Weapons or if it's a pass for you. But have a great day. Bye!